Hello and welcome to the Gubba Homestead. Today we're in the kitchen and I'm going to be teaching you how to make sourdough English muffins. So before we get into it, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to follow along with me on my first time homesteading journey. Also ignore the ugly blanket window covering. I just moved into this house. I haven't gotten curtains. There was no covering or any blinds for this window. So to prevent a backlight and awkward lighting, I put up this. And it's not the cutest. Anyways, sourdough English muffins. I make these every week. They are so good and so easy. You put the ingredients together, well, most of the ingredients together. You let them sit, ferment, rise for 12 to 24 hours. And then you bake them in the cast iron, and then boom, you have fresh English muffins, no preservatives, no weird stuff, and they taste amazing. You will need a sourdough starter. This is my sourdough starter. I fed it, it rose, it fell. So I'm gonna take a half a cup from this. I'm gonna take 2 cups of flour and then 1 cup of water from my Berkey filter, which I wrote a blog on that you can check out. Love my Berkey filter. Even though I have mountain water right now, I still use my Berkey filter. It takes out literally everything except the minerals. I could drink straight from the tap. I just love my Berkey filter and it's really cute. Okay, first thing we're gonna do, half cup actually, I need to preserve my sourdough starter. So I'm gonna put a half cup into a fresh, clean jar. So to be clear, this is a fed sourdough starter, meaning today I let it sit out. Actually, no, it was yesterday. I let it sit out, come to room temperature. I fed it with a half cup flour, half cup water. It rose, it fell overnight. And now here I am getting around to making the English muffins. So to keep my sourdough starter going, I'm gonna take a half cup of this, put it in here. This is gonna go to the fridge, and then I'm gonna use the remainder, which is going to be a half a cup, and make my sourdough English muffins. Okay, I don't want to spill. So my sourdough starter smells like nail polish remover, which is normal. It's happy, it's healthy, it bubbles, it rises. Love my sourdough starter. I even let this sourdough starter once die and didn't feed it for a month because I was in the middle of moving, and I brought it back to life. Okay, so there's my half cup that's gonna go on. I put just a piece of plastic over the top so it's not completely airtight because it gets the good stuff from the air and makes its own yeast. This will go to the fridge. Next, for the sourdough English muffins, we're gonna do a half cup in here. And I'll have to scoop a little out. It's light like batter. It actually looks like pancake batter. Oh, I'm not gonna have to scoop any out. This is perfectly a half cup. Beautiful. So that just goes into here. All right, we got our sourdough starter in here, just like that. We're gonna take 2 cups of flour. And you could use a butter knife and scrape the tops to get exactly 2 cups. I literally never do that. And I know baking is a science, but my stuff, I mean, it turns out good. So I'll show you what I do. Just get the 2 cups. Lightly shake it. It's not perfect, and maybe if I was making a tiramisu or something super fancy, it would need to be perfect, or I'd have to get out the scale and measure it, but There's one. And two. And then I literally just grab water in this. You could use a liquid measuring cup to make things simple, but I like to minimize my dishes, and I'm just gonna use this and get the water. And then a little more, because I never get it quite perfect. And see, this isn't exactly 1 cup or 2 cups, it's just sort of like what I make it. And it turns out good every time. Gonna set that there. I'm gonna mix this, but one important note as I was getting water for this is when you are feeding your sourdough starter, you don't want to use chlorinated water, so you either need something like a Berkey filter that takes out the chlorine, or you can put the water that you're going to feed your sourdough starter out on the counter overnight, and then the chlorine evaporates. The chlorine is not good for a sourdough starter. We don't want it. So we're gonna just mix this up. All right, so it makes like a little sticky dough. See how it's not very high up? It'll go to like right here. It'll double, if not even go further up. But now I'm just gonna cover it and then let it sit for 24 hours, and then we'll make some English muffins. So just like that, I just cover it, let it sit, super easy. This is hassle-free. And now I'm gonna meal prep black bean burritos, freezer burritos, so then I have something to just grab as I'm going or working or doing whatever. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do while this is rising, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So this is raised for about 17 hours. I don't have time right now to make the English muffins, so probably in about 3 more hours, so 20 hours. But see how it was like down here and it was like, whoa, isn't this so cool? Easy. You just let it sit, it does its thing, and then we cook it. All right, so it's been about 24 hours. Our overnight sourdough English muffin recipe, the dough has risen and it's more than doubled. It's not even peaked, so this peaked at around 17 hours and it's come down just a little, which is cool. I didn't have time right then to make the English muffins, and this is probably gonna make about 12 English muffins right here. We're gonna add in honey for a little sweetener, baking soda, and salt, and we're gonna use butter to coat the cast iron that we'll be baking these in, and we're also gonna use large mouth jar lids because I found that this makes the perfect English muffin, like cutout size. They rise great in them, they're easy to flip, no mess, and they're thick like the English muffins that you get at the store. Love it. So this is the dough, what it looks like at the top. And it has, oh man, it's beautiful. It's all bubbly and everything. Usually I use a kitchen towel. I don't like to use plastic just because it wasn't necessary, but I forgot. I just moved. Everything's kind of crazy. So right now I am going to add in the honey, the salt, and the baking soda, mix it all up, and then we're gonna head over to the oven. So this is just some raw local honey that I found at the store recently. It tastes super, 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 super good. I try to eat local honey because I have allergies, and local honey with the like local pollen supposedly helps with allergies. Oops, so I'm just gonna mix that in. I like the texture of the sourdough dough. I will show you guys. It's kind of like a Play-Doh. So I'm just gonna mix that in. It's not really sticky, but it's just like sticky enough. And so I have pink Himalayan salt. You can use whatever salt. This is just the salt that I use. And it's about a half a teaspoon. I'll post the recipe down below. I have a recipe on my website. It's about half a teaspoon. Just gonna sprinkle that in. and then a teaspoon of baking soda, and a little trick, if you don't have baking soda, you can also use baking powder. You would just use 2 teaspoons of baking powder, so you would double the amount of baking soda. I did that on my last batch and they turned out literally exactly the same. I'm just gonna mix this up, and don't be afraid, so my hands are clean. I'm just gonna get in and just mix it up with my hand. I find that's easier. Make sure all the baking soda is dispersed, that there's no chunks. I've also been fighting a cold this week, so I just moved a few weeks ago, and it was a super stressful process. Like, everything about moving was super stressful, so I think my immune system is just like finally catching up, because when you get stressed out, it hurts your immune system. So finally, I got relaxed, settled in, and so my immune system was like, okay, now I can be sick. All right, so here's the dough. It's like, see, it doesn't stick to my hands. It's just this beautiful, beautiful sourdough dough. I love it so much. Okay, everything's mixed in. I'm gonna clean this up, and then we're gonna head over to the oven, and I'm gonna show you how easy it is to make these. All right, super simple. I have a cast iron. It will take some time to make these because I only have 1 cast iron. If I had 2, then I could do double at the same time, but between cooking, I gotta let the cast iron cool down or else it'll affect the rising. Anyways, I'll show you guys. Again, I have 5 wide mouth jar lids. They make the perfect form for the English muffins. You can find a link down below for these. Also, if you hear anything in the background, I'm making brown rice in the Instant Pot. I'm gonna have a video on how to make that, super easy. I'm also gonna have a video for meal prepping black bean burritos, which is what I'm gonna be using the rice for. So lots of video making today. All right, first thing we're gonna do is we're going to grease the wide mouth lids. And I have butter right here, just a stick of butter that is always out on my counter. I'm just gonna use my fingers because you're just gonna have to do that in this. Actually, first, I'm gonna put some butter on the cast iron. Because it's so cold in my house, the butter's hard. I'm used to my old house, which was warm all the time, like at 69, 70, so the butter was always like easy to get to. But in my new farmhouse, figuring out the heat, I think my house is like at 60 right now, so it's a little chilly. Just gonna take butter to grease the inside, so it makes it so the English muffins won't stick to the inside. It's not the worst thing if that happens. There might be like one that does. I'm gonna start this right now. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna put it all the way to low. If I was on an electric oven, I would be cooking these on about 2, but I've learned that this oven cooks hotter than my old oven. That flame really shot. Than my electric oven, so that's why I'm gonna do this on low. I also have a plate to the side, which I will put, okay, which I will put the English muffins on after they've cooked. Covered with a paper towel. My goodness, this butter is not making it easy. So I just put like a teaspoon of butter on here. The butter is gonna melt. Lots of butter. I love cooking with butter. More butter the better in my opinion. So lots of butter. I'm just digging right into this butter stick, whatever. Okay, so these are all coated. I'm gonna let this butter stick melt. I'm not even gonna bother washing my hands because I'm gonna be grabbing the dough, putting it in. If you guys can see, this is just coated with butter. And the English muffins are gonna rise in this. And then you flip them and you like finagle the lids off, which reminds me, I'm gonna grab a plate. This will be a plate for the lids. When I finagle them off, the butter's almost melted. All right, so now we're gonna let these rise for about 10 minutes. I'm just going to arrange my lids in here like this. I'm gonna grab about this much dough, maybe a little more. Yeah, I'm gonna grab a little more. Put them in the lids. I gotta work kind of fast so then they have even rising. All right, beautiful. All right, so this is what it looks like, and they're going to pretty much double in size. They're gonna get bigger. This one might have a little more than I usually do, but I guess let's see how they turn out. So I'm gonna let them rise for about 10 minutes. This is the second time that I'm doing them on this oven, and I think it was a little sooner than 10 minutes, but I'll show you guys when you know when to flip, and you can kind of peek and see if the bottoms are browning. Super easy. I'm gonna have some big English muffins. So these have been rising for about 7 to 8 minutes. Look at how big that one got. So what I'll do is I'll start checking the bottoms of them. So I'm gonna check the bottom of that one. See, it's partially browned. I'm gonna bring that over. Check this one. My guess is because where the gas is coming up, or the flame, it's gonna be more browned on the inside. But these are not ready to flip. They're too bubbly. About another minute or two. Yeah, about another minute, probably 2 minutes, and then I'll flip them. So I'm going to flip these. They're ready to flip. Sometimes they don't go perfect. I'll just move that out over here. So I just flipped the English muffins, and I'm gonna finagle the lids off. You don't have to. They can cook in the lids, but I prefer to. Sometimes it can be a little tricky. While they were rising, I also turned the heat up from low to 1, and I'm even thinking like that might be too much because they seem to be cooking pretty fast for my stove. Ooh. So this one got a little bit of the side. I don't know if you guys can see in there. Just a little bit, not a big deal. I'm just checking the other sides until they look like this, and then that will tell me that they're done. And I prefer to have the sides look like the darker, because then that means that it's going to be chewy on the inside and then have like a crunch to the outside. So I prefer the darker color. These ones are a little lighter out here, so I'll probably flip them over and cook them again on the other side just a little bit. And then I'm constantly just flipping until they're cooked evenly, and then I take them off. And then I wait for the cast iron to cool, and then I do the next round. It's that easy. And if you had 2 cast irons, you could be double doing this, double Dutching, I don't know. They're almost there, but oh, these are gonna be so good. And they're fluffy and amazing, and oh man, taking them fresh off and then putting on some butter, so good. And then I just store these. Usually they stay for like about a week. I eat them. You can put like pico de gallo on them. I have them for breakfast, butter, peanut butter, jam. Oh man, putting on jam. Okay, so this one is done. This is the bottom side. I'm not going to touch it because it will burn me. So I just flipped over one to brown the other side. I like a thorough dark brown. This one's probably done. Yes, it is. Like this color. It looks like maybe it's burnt, but it's not. That's what gives you just like that perfect, like, kind of crunch. I don't like it when the whole English muffin is chewy. I like the more crunchy, like I gotta like tear the bottom. But that's personal preference. If you like just the whole chewy English muffin, then you just let them get light brown on each side. So this one is done. And I know some people might say, well, you shouldn't flip them back and forth. It doesn't result in an even cook. I've made these so many times and I flip them all the time. I like my perfect outside and it works every time. So these are done. Whoop, that one went flying. I'm gonna turn the oven off and then I'm gonna let them cool. And my brown rice in the Instant Pot needs to be unsealed or vented. It needs to be vented, so I'm gonna go do that right now while these cool, and then I'll show you guys the magic of the English muffin. Oh, they are so good. All right, so we have these perfect English muffins that we're gonna try right now. I'm just gonna grab one. One that's warmer. This one maybe? Yeah, this one's a little warmer. Okay, I should have chose a better knife, but I'm just cutting into it with a butter knife. It cuts perfectly. All right, look at the inside. Oh, it smells so good. Oh. All right, gonna put a little butter on here. The butter just melts. Yum. This may sound crazy, but these are way better than store-bought English muffins. The other half is calling my name. I wish I could share. You guys are welcome to have whatever you want. If I'm feeling ambitious, I might make some like freezer breakfast sandwiches with these. I don't know how ambitious I'm feeling though, because I still have a lot of other stuff that I'm gonna be doing. I just made some brown rice in my Instant Pot, and I'm gonna be using that brown rice for meal prep. I feel like English muffins going everywhere. For meal prep black bean burritos. But before I get started on that, I'm gonna have a little snack. Thank you so much for baking these English muffins with me. I love showing you guys how easy it is. A sourdough starter is amazing. I've written about it on my website, so make sure to check it out. All the links will be down below in the description. And if you haven't, make sure to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to follow along with me on my homesteading journey. And I'll see you guys in the other videos. Bye!